Imagine waking up in the middle of the night. You step out of bed, your bare feet touching the cold stone floor. You walk to your window, expecting to see a street lamp, a garden, or a passing car. You pull back the curtain, but instead, there is nothing. Just a 2,000-foot drop into the abyss. For most of us, a cliff is a warning. It is a geological red light that tells us where the world ends. Our instinct is to step back. But for thousands of years, a select few have looked at the jagged, hostile edges of the earth and said, "I'm going to build my home right there." Why? Was it fear of what lay in the valley? Was it a desperate search for God? Or was it simply because there was nowhere else to go? Today on Tour Guide, we are embarking on a global odyssey to 13 locations that defy physics, engineering, and sanity. From the vertical monasteries of Greece to the tunnel villages of China, these are the places that shouldn't exist. We will uncover the secrets of how they were built, why they survive, and the daily terrors of living on the precipice. Welcome to Life on the Edge.
We begin in Catalonia, Spain, at a place that looks like a geological mistake. This is Castellfollit de la Roca. At first glance, it doesn't seem real. It looks like a ship stranded on a high shelf of stone. The village sits on a narrow tongue of basalt lava, a geological scar formed nearly 200,000 years ago. It wasn't formed by one event, but by two massive volcanic eruptions that coated this valley in liquid fire. Over millennia, the Fluvia and Torinel rivers ate away the softer earth, leaving only this hard basalt ribbon behind. The dimensions are terrifying. The village is over 1 kilometer long, but in some places it is only 2 houses wide. Living here is a constant exercise in balance. On your left, a 50-meter sheer drop. On your right, another 50-meter drop. Imagine raising children here. Imagine walking home after a night out. Locals joke that you never, ever sleepwalk in Castellfollit. But despite the danger, people have lived on this razor's edge since the Middle Ages. Why? Because in an era of bandits and feudal wars, this rock was the ultimate shield. You didn't need to build walls when the earth provided a 50-meter drop on both sides. The stone you see in the walls of the church and the houses, it isn't imported. It's the same dark basalt taken from the cliff itself. They didn't just build on the precipice, they built from it. They are living inside the volcano's legacy. Travel south to the sun-baked hills of Andalusia, and you find a city split in two. This is Ronda. For centuries, the El Tajo Gorge was a wound that separated the old city, La Ciudad, from the new market town, El Mercadillo. The drop is 120 meters, tall enough to swallow a 30-story skyscraper. For hundreds of years, to get from one side to the other meant a treacherous journey down into the valley and back up. But in the 18th century, the people of Ronda decided to stitch the city back together with stone. It was an engineering nightmare. The first attempt to bridge this gap happened in 1735. It stood for only 6 years before collapsing, killing 50 people in a tragedy that shook the region. But they didn't give up. In 1759, they started again. The bridge you see today, the Puente Nuevo, took over 40 years to build. It claimed the lives of dozens of workers who slipped from the wet stones and fell into the silence of the gorge. The bridge is a masterpiece, but it hides a dark secret. Look closely at the small window above the central arch. Inside the bridge, carved into the stone, is a chamber. During the Spanish Civil War, stories say this room was used as a prison and torture chamber. Legend tells us that prisoners were thrown from this very window onto the rocks below. It is a chilling thought. For them, the most beautiful view in Spain was the last thing they ever saw. Ernest Hemingway loved this town, and he wrote about this very brutality. In Ronda, beauty and death have always walked hand in hand. In Spain, they built bridges to conquer the void. In Corsica, they seem to be defying gravity entirely. Welcome to Bonifacio, the citadel on the white cliffs. From the sea, it looks impossible. The limestone cliffs are being eaten by the Mediterranean waves. The wind and salt have undercut the rock, creating a massive overhang. This means the houses on the edge aren't just sitting on the cliff, they are hanging over the ocean. If you drop a coin from your window, it doesn't hit the rock, it hits the water. But the most terrifying feature isn't the houses, it's the staircase. Carved directly into the vertical face of the limestone is the staircase of the King of Aragon. The legend is one of the most famous in the Mediterranean. It says that in 1420, during the siege by King Alfonso V of Aragon, his soldiers carved these 187 steps into the sheer cliff in a single night. They worked in silence, hoping to launch a surprise attack from the sea. Historians are more skeptical. They argue it was actually Franciscan monks who carved it over months to reach a fresh water spring at the base of the cliff. But when you stand here, with the wind trying to push you off and the sea raging below, you realize that whoever carved this had nerves of steel. Sometimes, a cliff isn't just a foundation, it's a shield. In Slovenia, if you wanted to survive the turbulent 15th century, you didn't just build a wall. You found a hole in the mountain and you moved in. This is Predjama Castle, holding the Guinness World Record for the largest cave castle on Earth. It was the home of Erasem Luega, the robber baron. Think of him as the Slovenian Robin Hood. In 1483, after killing a relative of the Holy Roman Emperor in a duel, he fled here. The emperor was furious. He sent an entire army to starve Erasem out. They camped in the valley, freezing in the winter snow, waiting for the baron to run out of food. They waited for months. But Erasem wasn't starving. He was feasting. What the army didn't know was that deep inside the cave network behind these walls, there was a secret passage. It led through the mountain to the Vipava Valley on the other side. Servants would bring fresh meat, vegetables and fruit through the back door. Erasem even mocked the freezing soldiers by throwing fresh cherries down at them from the walls. The castle was perfect. The cliff was undefeated. But Erasem had one weakness: trust. He was betrayed by a servant who had been bribed by the army. The servant agreed to light a candle in the window when Erasem was using the outhouse, the one part of the castle with thin walls. One well-aimed cannonball later, the legend ended. It proves that you can build a fortress against an army, but you cannot build a fortress against treachery. From the green, damp forests of Europe, we move to the arid, sun-scorched peaks of Yemen. This is Al-Hajar. Here, the separation between nature and architecture disappears. The houses don't just sit on the rock, they are the rock. Built in the 12th century, these tower houses rise 5, sometimes 7 stories high. They were the skyscrapers of the medieval world. Look at the foundations. You cannot tell where the natural mountain ends and the man-made wall begins. They are fused together. It looks like a fairy tale, like gingerbread houses floating in the clouds. But make no mistake, this is a machine of war. The Ottomans called this region the graveyard of the Turks. Why? Because you simply couldn't attack it. The only way up is a narrow path, easily defended by a handful of men. To live here was to say to the world, "You are welcome to look, but you can never touch." Even today, life here is hard. Water must be hauled up, supplies must be carried, but the view is the payment for the struggle. In Yemen, the cliff kept people out. In China, the cliff kept people in. For centuries, the village of Guoliang was a prison. Nestled high in the Taihang Mountains, it was virtually cut off from civilization. The only way in or out was the sky ladder, 7 to 20 slippery narrow steps carved into the dangerous rock face. It was a death trap. If you were sick, you couldn't leave. If you slipped, you were gone. In 1972, the village elders decided they had enough. They petitioned the government for a road, but they were ignored. So, 13 villagers made a pact. They sold their goats and herbs to buy hammers and steel chisels. They had no electricity, no engineers, no dynamite, no heavy machinery. They attacked the mountain with their bare hands. It took them 5 years. They carved a 1.2-kilometer tunnel entirely by hand. Some died during the construction, but they kept digging. Travelers call these openings the windows of death, but for the villagers, they were functional. They were the only way to dump the rubble down the cliff. They didn't just build a road. They carved their freedom out of the mountain's ribs. Today, it is a testament to the stubbornness of the human spirit. Let's head back to Spain for a moment of respite. Most people build a roof to keep the rain out. In Setenil de las Bodegas, nature built the roof 1,000,000 years ago. Here, they didn't dig in like a cave, and they didn't build on top like a castle. They built under. The massive overhangs of the Trejo River Gorge serve as the ceilings for cafes, bars, and living rooms. This is troglodyte architecture, refined for modern life. It's nature's air conditioning. While the rest of Andalusia burns in the 40-degree summer heat, Setenil stays cool. The name comes from the Latin septem nihil, 7 times nothing. It refers to the Reconquista, when Catholic armies tried to conquer this town. They laid siege to it 7 times and failed. The rock didn't just provide shade, it provided invincibility. It wasn't until the introduction of gunpowder that the rock finally fell. Today, it is famous for its chorizo and wine, stored in the cool, dark pantries carved deep into the cliff. In the Alborz mountains of Iran, the fog hides a village that breaks every rule of modern architecture. Welcome to Masuleh. Look closely at the layout. The mountain is so steep that there is no room for roads. So, the residents came up with a unique solution. The yard of the building above is the roof of the building below. Motor vehicles are strictly forbidden here, not because of laws but because of physics. You simply cannot drive a car up a staircase. The roofs are built to support the weight of people, snow, and commerce. They are the sidewalks of the village. This unique architecture forces connection. You literally walk on your neighbor's head. You cannot be a stranger here. The yellow clay on the exterior isn't just for show. It is designed to cut through the thick fog that blankets the village for a third of the year, a beacon of warmth in the grey mist. We travel now to Italy, to a place they call Il Paese che muore, the dying city. Unlike the granite of Guoliang or the basalt of Castellfollit, Civita sits on a foundation of soft clay and volcanic ash, known as tuff. It is beautiful, hauntingly so, but it is fragile. Rain, wind, and time are slowly eating the cliff away. Centuries ago, this was a bustling town, but the edges kept falling. Landslides have taken the old gates, the old roads, and many of the houses into the valley below. The population has dwindled to just a handful of permanent residents. Today, you can only reach it by this long, lonely footbridge. Walking across it feels like walking into a memory. It stands as a reminder that no matter how strong we build, the earth eventually takes everything back. Civita is beautiful precisely because it is temporary. It is a flower blooming on the edge of a grave. In the Dordogne Valley of France, there is a village that isn't just a home. It is a physical representation of the medieval soul. This is Rocamadour. It was built in 3 distinct layers to reflect the social order of the Middle Ages. The village for the workers and merchants lies at the bottom near the river. The sanctuary and the crypts for the priests sit in the middle, clinging to the rock. and the castle for the night stands guard on the very top. But to get from the bottom to the middle, from the world of men to the world of God, you had to climb the great staircase. 216 steps carved into the hill. For centuries, pilgrims, including kings and nobles, would climb these steps on their knees, praying for forgiveness with every painful inch. They came for the Black Madonna, a wooden statue believed to have miraculous powers, and they listened for the bell, a rusty iron bell that hangs in the chapel, said to ring by itself without wind or human touch, whenever a sailor is saved from a shipwreck at sea. Hidden deep in the forests of Turkey, clinging to a sheer black cliff face like a swallow's nest, is Sumela. The contrast is startling, the white walls of the monastery against the dark, foreboding rock of the Pontic Alps. Tradition says it was founded in the 4th century by 2 monks, Barnabas and Sophronios. They wandered these mountains until they found an icon of the Virgin Mary in a cave, an icon believed to be painted by Saint Luke himself. For 1,600 years, this has been a place of miracles. Christians and Muslims alike climbed this mountain to drink from the holy spring that drips from the rock ceiling, seeking healing. Even when the monastery was abandoned in the 1920s, the locals protected it, knowing that this place was touched by something divine. It is a place where silence speaks louder than words. To reach our next destination, we must travel to the remote kingdom of the Thunder Dragon. This is Paro Taktsang, the tiger's nest. It sits over 3,000 meters above sea level, clinging to a cliff that drops 900 meters straight down. It is dizzying, it is terrifying, and it is utterly holy. According to Bhutanese tradition, the Guru Rinpoche flew here in the 8th century on the back of a flying tigress to subdue a demon that was terrorizing the valley. He meditated in a cold cave here for 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. The hike to get here is grueling, a steep, breathless climb through thinning air. But that is the point. The journey purifies you. By the time you reach the temple, with the smell of incense and the sound of chanting, you have left the world below far behind. We end our journey in Greece, at the place that defines life on the edge, Meteora. In Greek, it literally means suspended in the air. These massive sandstone pillars were formed 60 million years ago. But the monasteries on top, they are a testament to human will. Beginning in the 14th century, monks climbed these vertical walls to escape political turmoil and find silence closer to God. For centuries, there were no stairs, no bridges. The only way up was a series of ladders or a net attached to a rope hauled up by a hand crank. There is a famous story visitors love to tell. When a nervous traveller asked the abbot, "How often do you replace the rope?" the abbot calmly replied, "Only when it breaks." It was the ultimate act of faith. To live here, you had to trust that you were in God's hands. From the defiant tunnels of China to the crumbling clay of Italy, these villages tell us something profound about the human spirit. We are not a species that takes the easy path. When faced with a wall of stone, we don't turn back. We carve a home into it. These cliffs were meant to keep people out, but in the end, they created communities that are tighter, stronger, and more resilient than any city on flat ground. Which of these 13 locations would you be brave enough to visit? And be honest, could you live there? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey to the edge of the world, please hit that subscribe button. We have many more mountains to climb together. Explore more, worry less. I'll see you in the next one.